So good morning, distinguished guests, honorable speakers, ladies and gentlemen. First of all, I'd like to introduce myself. My name is Jenjira Dongjit from the Department of Horticulture, at University at Bang Khen campus. And I will be MC for this symposium. So today's program sequence is reflected in a symposium book that I'm pretty sure that everyone have got it already. If any of you haven't got the book, you can go and get it from our staff at the front. And so this symposium is International Symposium on Plant Breeding Network and Tools as a Driving Force for Better Economy. And on behalf of the organizer, I would like to extend my warm welcome to all the guests and everyone today. And this is being hosted by the University Research and Development Institution. And next, may I invite Associate Professor Dr. Thongchai Suwan Sichon, the Director of the University Research and Development Institute, to come to the stage and for the opening.
The International Symposiums on Plant Breeding Network and Tools as a Driving Force for Better Economy. May I take this opportunity to extend my warmest welcome to our guests, to the beautiful country, Thailand. I would also like to congratulate everyone for having a great opportunity to participate in this gathering. Plant breeding is one of the major integrated fields of plant physiology and genetics. To create a novel varieties will thrive our country for many decades. There have been many plant varieties developed and released by breeding programs at the University. Developed and released, they have become popular in Thailand and many countries in this region. To achieve the future demands of food safety, climate change, and alternative energy sources, conventional plant breeding is required to continue with the profile integration of other sciences such as plant physiology, genetics, statistics, and computer science. To accelerate breeding programs for fast-growing commodity demand and to move towards precision breeding. On the behalf of the University Research and Development Institute, or Kurdi, I would like to welcome you all to participate in this symposium, Plant Breeding Network and Tools as a Driving Force for Better Economy, from 23rd to 26th January 2017, hosted by Kurdi. At this occasion, I would like to express my sincere appreciation to all organization committees consisting of departments of agronomy at Bang Khen and Kamphaengsan campus, botany, genetics, horticulture at Bang Khen and Kamphaengsan campus, for their voluntary effort to make this symposium. I hope this symposium will create a new horizon of the fruitful collaboration of plant breeding and related fields between Kasetsat University and University of Wisconsin-Madison, consequently leading Thailand to 4.0 era. Ladies and gentlemen, I wish you all success in your deliberation during these 4 days. I now declare open the International Symposium on Plant Breeding Network and Tools as a driving force for better economy. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. I hope you can hear me without the microphone. First of all, I'd like to thank the organizers, Pia, Jane, and the other organizers for inviting me and inviting Brian and Mike. It's a really exciting opportunity. I'd also like to say that it's a real honor to come here to Setsart and to Thailand, which I've always looked at. I'm a corn person. I worked with Vern Grayson at Cornell, so I've been corn for a very long time. Thailand it's an honor to come here because you're really a major center of special planting. Sweet corn and maize. And I almost feel very humbled to come here and talk to you about plant breeding. So I can. Done? Okay. So I was asked to talk about plant breeding and world food, and rather general topic. I'm going to kind of give you my perspective on it. And again, this is a small room. There's plenty of time, so if you have questions, I'd be more than happy to entertain them during the talk, or certainly at the end. We're going to go through about 10,000 years in about 3 slides, and then we'll spend a lot of time on the 20th and 21st century. The distant past, of course, 10,000 years ago, humankind has been actually cultivating plants for a very short time in our time on this planet. Most evidence says we started about 10,000 years ago. On the left there you see the spike of teosinte, the ancestor of maize, and on the right, of course, is a primitive corn ear. If we just think briefly about plant domestication, over time there was unconscious selection, and unconscious selection probably actually had some of the major impacts in terms of making crops what they are today. And the first thing that people think about is selection pressure associated with harvest. And the first point I have here is non-shattering. Obviously, if you grab a spike of a grass and the seeds fall on the ground, that's going to be very inefficient to harvest. So it would be very quick, and apparently it was very quick, that domesticators found non-shattering genes in most of the grasses. And of course here you can see teosinte seeds scattered, and of course the ear of corn where the kernels hold on very tightly. So shattering would have been one of the first things. One of the next things would have been ease of harvest again. And Harlan and DeWitt many years ago talked about growth habit 1. And this is where there's many lateral branches, like in the sunflower on the left. And it's obviously easier to harvest one big flower as opposed to many small flowers. So again, these kind of changes occurred very quickly as people started to domesticate crops. One of the things I'm very interested in, because I work with sweet corn, and sweet corn has difficulties germinating and with seedling vigor, another thing that there was selection pressure going on was selection for seedling competition with weeds. Early on, most archaeologists think that early domesticators would actually just scatter seeds on the ground, and maybe they would have a fire, they'd set a fire, burn off the vegetation, and then scatter seeds on the ground. But those seeds would have to, those seedlings would have to compete with weeds. And it turns out that seeds that are bigger make seedlings that are bigger, and they compete better with weeds. So you can see at the top there's some squash seeds, different species, and early wild species at the very top, an intermediate, and then the domesticate. And simply by selecting for plants that compete with weeds, the seeds are going to get bigger. Another thing that happens in terms of rapid germination and dormancy is that the seeds we want to see the seeds germinate at once. And another thing that happens is, at least in the grasses, carbohydrates, higher level of carbohydrates makes the seeds germinate more quickly. And so the simple act of domestication reduced the amount of protein in the seed and increased the amount of carbohydrate. And we've actually been doing this for 10,000 years now. And often people who are critics of modern agriculture will say, oh, your modern corn lines or wheat lines are lower in protein. Well, this is a direct effect of selecting for germination and vigor. So more recently, 10,000 years ago to about 200 years ago, farmer breeders were the main kind of breeder. Essentially every farmer was a breeder. They would select the best things that they liked. Over time, this is an example of corn cobs, archaeological corn cobs, and farmers would select for bigger ears and bigger corn cobs. And this would be conscious selection and making changes over time. So that's 10,000 years. Now we're going to talk about the last 100, 150 years. And in the recent past, scientific plant breeding came about. There were a number of forces that happened here: Mendelian genetics, Darwinian evolutionary theory. One of the most important things, we often think of plant breeding as being allied with genetics. The most important thing in my mind was actually the Fisher and other folks in statistics and making us understand about variation. Land-grant University started. I actually have a painting in that painting on the right in my office. That's the dean of the University of Wisconsin in the 1930s. He's walking through a cornfield, and you can see the bags on the cornfield. This is really in the 1930s and 40s, showing you how important agriculture was to the universities and to research in the U.S. You'd be hard pressed to find a dean walking through my cornfield today unless I was in big trouble. Then soon after the university started, seed companies started, and then in more recently the international centers began. So just a little bit about 20th century innovations. And